Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Slow Burn Pro Wrestling Podcast, where all professional wrestling storylines live. As always, I am your host, Matt Brannon, bringing you all of professional wrestling's news, notes, innuendos, and whatever the hell else you can come up with. All right, I've got it all here. And guys, happy Friday, and more so than that, happy holidays, because everybody knows if you're like me, you're celebrating today. Happy 314, representing the Lou, baby. St. Louis all day long. 314 as it's March 14th, okay? And being that it's 314, being that it's Friday, we got a ton of shit to talk about. Now, I'm going to be honest, guys. We always have a lot to talk about on a Friday because I'm rehashing Dynamite, I am rehashing TNA, and usually we're getting ready for a huge Smackdown for tonight. All right? Now, today, we're no one different. We're going to do Dynamite. We're going to quickly do some TNA. I got to go fast on TNA because there's some Dynamite stuff I really want to focus on. Then we're going to have our SmackDown. But other than that, tonight, guys, we have TNA Sacrifice pay-per-view tonight live from El Paso, Texas. I'm going to be honest. No spoilers. I will be staying off social media once about 7 o'clock in the evening hits. I told you guys the other day, that we may have some delay shows coming up in the next week. It'll only be 1 week, I promise. And then later on down the road this summer, I may have a couple more because of, some moving stuff. But we'll get to that later. You guys know my house is up for sale. So, but I want to say tonight is focusing on basketball, right? We're going M-I-Z-Z-O-U. All right, Mizzou going to win the freaking SEC, and hopefully tonight it keeps going with another victory over what they say is going to be a number 1 seed in Florida. So, yeah, we got Mizzou. I got my North Carolina Tar Heels going at the same time as Mizzou. So what we're going to do is we're recording SmackDown. We'll check that out, and we're going to go ahead and take care of TNA Sacrifice on Triller TV. So we'll have that going too. So huge night here at the Brannon house. I'm sure my wife is going to be very, very excited. But hey, it's part of what you deal with. It's who we are. It's what we do. So guys, let's go ahead and get to Dynamite. Oh my gosh. Let's see. How do I want to phrase this? It was pretty good. I didn't expect much. I really didn't. I didn't expect a great, fantastic head to the freaking stone show. I just didn't. I didn't think that this was going to be a banger. It was pretty good, and it had some very good moments. It really did. But and one of the bigger moments was at the very beginning. All right, when we dealt with Kenny Omega, he opened the show. We get a very nice promo. By the way, every time Kenny comes down to the ring, it's special. He's one of the best entrances that exist. But Kenny was good. I like the fact that it was short. I've been one to say that sometimes Kenny Omega's promos can stretch out and then they become a little nonsensical. When he stays short, he's great. And I mean, he's great anyway. He's one of the best professional wrestlers in the world today. Maybe all time, really, when you think about the Japanese stuff that he's done. But we just hasn't seen him a whole lot here in the States, especially he's been hurt for the last year plus. So great to have him back. He wins an international championship at Revolution, which, by the way, how could you expect a freaking superstar show coming off of Revolution, man? I mean, my God. And I heard and read, and I believe this is very true, that there were some injuries that happened at Revolution too. So you knew that the card might suffer a little bit, but overall, like I said, not bad. But Kenny Omega's open was very good. What I like the most is, number one, the "You Deserve It" chant, because Kenny Omega deserves it. He deserves anything that he can get. But the other thing that we got was we set up a tournament. I talked to you guys a little bit on Wednesday as I previewed this, that, there we go again. I did work today. What we have is this preview of a tournament that we're going to get that I gave you guys the other day, and then we saw the opening rounds of it, and we're going to have even more opening rounds tomorrow on Collision. But we kind of see the setup of the tournament, and I like this, man. That's one thing that AEW does that I really enjoy, and that's tournament wrestling. And I really think that could be a niche that they really, really kind of focus on moving forward. There's also a rumor that they're going to combine the Continental Championship with the International Championship. I'm not so sure that's a great move or not. I got to really think about it. Off the top of my head, I say no, because they have such a deep, great roster. Keeping a little bit of gold on people is a good move, in my opinion. especially when you don't have multiple shows to kind of spread out as far as like brands like WWE has with Raw and SmackDown. I don't know. I just think having the extra belt works. But regardless, setting up a tournament is going to be pretty special. Now, how they set this up, and I didn't mention this on Wednesday, was that you got 4 different sets of one-on-one matches. All right, here on Wednesday for Dynamite, we had Orange Cassidy versus who did he? Hinchicero, and then who was the other one that we had? Mike Bailey, Speedball Mike Bailey versus the Beast Mortals. Oh my God, Mike Bailey! Speedball is in the house. I wanted to do a special little thing on that, but since I mentioned his name, we got to go for it. One of my all-time favorite guys right now. I know I said all-time right now. Still works. And literally one of the kindest people that you will ever freaking meet. It was so awesome. But yeah, this tournament sets up. You're going to get the winner of each of these matches. The matches are going to happen on Saturday too in Collision. I know Ricochet's involved. I haven't looked ahead at the card a whole lot. But regardless, what we're going to end up getting is on next week's Dynamite, a 4-man fatal 4-way. And excuse me, the winner of that fatal 4-way will actually take on Kenny Omega. I assume they're going to do that at Dynasty, is what my assumption is, but they hadn't. I don't know. I guess that's what they said. I might not have been paying attention, but regardless, I love the setup. I love the promo. Yeah, and let's see what happens. I did like in the promo how Kenny basically said he was done with the Don Callis family. He was moving past that, but thanked Takeshita for bringing him back into the way he needed to be brought back, like bringing it out of him the way it needed to be brought out. And I don't know. I would be totally fine to see Takeshita, have another run with Kenny Omega. That battle doesn't have to be over, in my opinion. I don't know though. That one thing I'm kind of getting out of this, and I may be looking too far ahead, is that are we seeing maybe Takeshita making that transition back to a babyface and getting away from the Don Callis family and going more solo? I don't know. Remember, Kenny Omega's who brought Takeshita into this thing, so that could be kind of interesting to see where that goes moving forward. Regardless, Takeshita has the never openweight championship of New Japan. So he's got that to defend too. Maybe he'll defend that in AEW a little bit. I don't know. It'd be kind of cool. So that brings us to the rest of the show, guys. We open things up with the Ops, where we have Samoa Joe and Katsuyori Shibata and Hook. They had a squash match, and local enhancement talent. I'm gonna tell you guys, this Ops team is gonna be really, really good moving forward. You can see the push. They're definitely putting bugs in people's ears about the Trios Championships. And honestly, I think that's coming up pretty freaking soon. I think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see the Ops really kind of step up in competition and then take on those Death Riders for those trios titles. And I'm good with it. I think it's a great idea. I just want to get those titles off of them anyway. Let's put those belts on people that will actually defend the belts often, because those belts should be defended often. But yeah, the other thing that I want to say about this is recently we're starting to see more and more squash matches in AEW periodically, sometimes to open the show, sometimes mid-show. It's really become a throwback for me. Like, I think back to the old days. And if you're my age from where I'm from, you'll know exactly what I'm talking. Remember the old Channel 11 KPLR days, and we had like wrestling superstars on, and basically you would get some interviews here and there, and then you would see your guys in squash matches against people you didn't know, until Billy Jack Hayes and people like that make it big. Barry Horowitz, Steve Lombardi, the Brooklyn Brawler. I could go on and on, but we call them jobbers, right? But enhancement jobbers. However you want to look at it, I don't care. But that was the throwback. Same thing with the old Superstation, the NWA we used to watch. I used to call it the red mat. And when we looked at that, or the blue mat. But when we look at those matches, you didn't get to see Flair take on Dusty Rhodes every night. What you saw was Dusty Rhodes taking on Johnny Johnson straight out of Macon, Georgia. It's that kind of stuff that I don't know. The squash matches kind of bring a little bit of that back to me. A little nostalgia. They don't all have to be heaters, guys. They don't all have to be heaters. So, let's keep going with the show. We had Cope backstage. Like, they showed a clip post Revolution. Cope being backstage with Swerve. I really liked that piece. A lot of mutual respect shown. If that works itself out into something further down the line, I would really like it. They kind of remind me of one another with how they actually wrestle, and like their attitude, and just, I don't take any shit off anybody. I don't know. There's definitely some edge qualities in Swerve. So if we could work that out. The other thing that we got out of that was Cope basically said, hey, I didn't get pinned. at Revolution. Mox didn't beat me, so he was able to get a rematch. And that rematch is going to be next week on Dynamite, and it's going to be a freaking street fight, and it is going to be absolutely awesome. The other thing is, throughout the night, Jay White backstage says he will definitely be there to have Cope's back, and it's going to be a better job. I just have a feeling we're getting Jay White and Cope soon, and that will be awesome. If not, let's join them up as a freaking team full time and let them roll. Like I would be okay with that too. I really would. But overall, like that piece was really good, and it brought in the John Moxley backstage promo. It was good. It was good. I loved the fact that Moxley was basically telling Cope, "Hey, quit with the damn excuses, man. I beat you. I respect you. You brought it out of me. Thank you for that. But quit with the fucking excuses. Like it's over." However, he pretty much said he was going to break his neck again on Wednesday. So I don't know. Man, the Death Rider stuff we'll see. We'll see. I'm not good with it at the moment. I know I've been kind of up and down with it, but I don't know, I just think there's so much left there. There's so much that's unsaid, so much that's undone. So we shall see. But what we get after this was one of the AEW Classic tag team matches that everyone says, why the hell are they tagging together? And that was Powerhouse Hobbs tagging with Hologram, by the way, accompanied by Harley Graham, as Harley Cameron comes out with her hologram mask. That might have been one of the better parts of the show, to be honest, just out of pure humor. But they took on Brian Cage and Dralistico. Now, the first thing that I said when this match happened was, why in the hell is Brian Cage tagging with Dralistico? Brian Cage has a tag team partner in Lance Archer. Brian Cage is a part of a faction, the Don Callis family. Dralistico is part of a faction in LFI. Like, explain to me why these two have to partner up. They both have freaking tag team partners. Like Dralistico could have tagged with Roosh. He could have tagged with Beast, even though he had a match later on. But like that didn't make sense. Then I realized that both of these guys have had issues with different types of guys, so it was a good way to kind of show a contrast of styles. And to be honest, it freaking really worked. This was probably my favorite match of the night. Hobbs shined, but I want to say this, Brian Cage, that might be the best I have ever seen him look. And I like Brian Cage. I like the Swolverine. He's always been very quality as with his in-ring stuff. I think his mic work has gotten better, but like those two, Hobbs and Cage going at it, like wow, that was a match made in heaven. I want more of that. Let's let those dudes square off. But Hobbs and Hologram, they go over, thought they would. The whole match worked. The whole match was really great. I even at one point I looked at my wife. I was like, you know what's really weird is I normally hate these type of matches, and right now I would be totally fine if Hobbs tagged up with Hologram and been good with it. Like, let's make a tag team out of them and have them go get the belts. I don't know. I just thought it worked. It worked. And you know what? I'm always a man that will admit when I'm wrong. And this one would have been one of those times. Great tag match, great action, great story. And the biggest thing is they are definitely pushing Hobbs right now. Hobbs is going to get that rocket strapped to his ass. And we're going to see how far he goes. All right. So the other thing, let's see a cage push. All right. If that match didn't show you that he deserves a push, I don't know what will. At the end of it, we had Lance Archer and Mark Davis, both of the Callis family, come down. They stare down Hobbs, which I like that. Hobbs used to be a member of the Don Callis family, if you remember. So I like the fact of Hobbs going through every bit of the Don Callis family. It's very, very good for me. And that actually helps him and shows him to get stronger and stronger and stronger. But you guys know I still want Lance Archer and Brian Cage to go against the Hurt Syndicate. So that brings us to what was my favorite part of the event until it wasn't. All right, and that was the Tony Storm promo. I thought that the Tony Storm promo had everything you wanted. She called out facts. She brought out innuendo. She brought up everything from freaking John Moxley to Mercedes Moné to orgies. And when you can do that seamlessly and be entertaining and make me laugh, thank you. As always, thank you, Tony. She also showed the staples in her head, by the way, stitches in her lip. Like, she took a freaking beating in what of, if not the best women's match that I have ever seen. But basically, Tony comes out and says, I'm Mariah, I love you. Thank you for everything, but your scene is over and we're moving on. And then she kind of opened it up. She said, I want a new challenger. Let's see what's going to happen. And I loved it. It was so passionate and I was so excited. And then the challenger came out. And again, I have been a Megan Bayne person. I like Megan Bayne. I think she is a monster. I think that she is going to do really, really good things, but she is not ready for Tony Storm yet. I don't know. I mean, not just, because of the fact that she's younger and hasn't been in, but she has not had any type of build to this. And I don't like when you have this girl. She's had a freaking story with Mariah May for over a year. Like, this has been going on and on. It's been so damn good. But probably the best story that AEW has ever done as far as a full length slow burn storyline. Then we bring out Megan Bayne, who's been here for a few weeks. She hasn't had any really big wins. She had a couple squash wins, had the tag win, I guess. She pinned Statlander. That's fine. How about a storyline? How about a feud with Statlander? Let's show a little bit more of this strength. Then maybe Tony. I just don't, man, there hadn't been a feud. There hadn't been a build. And I don't know. I don't think it does either of them any type of service. I think it's a disservice to both of the ladies, Megan Bayne and Tony Storm. Now, with that said, Tony's going to make anybody look good. It's going to be a fantastic feud. But one thing that worries me is that, and this happens sometimes in AEW, that someone comes in so hot, and then they just get pushed, and it almost got pushed past certain things that maybe they should have went through. And I don't want to see Megan Bayne get pushed past what things she should have went through. She should be taking on Stat. She should be taking on Willow. That, talk about a freaking matchup, right? I would have no problem with a storyline with Thunder Rosa. I love Thunder Rosa. Matter of fact, I was actually hoping that we were going to get a Tony Storm Thunder Rosa story moving forward, just because I think they dance good together. And I love Thunder, but I don't know. The whole thing it's not yet. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's going to be great. It's going to be good. The in-ring stuff's going to be as good as anything, but just not yet. It's not time yet. And I don't even know if her and Tony are the right time. I mean, they're going to eventually put a belt on her, on Megan Bayne. But the question is why is it Tony's? Like, that makes zero sense to me. Tony's the freaking best thing they got going over there. So, that is what it is. We'll move forward. Like I said, it was so good until it wasn't. But then it picks back up as far as the show, because we get the debut of Speedball Mike Bailey. All right, guys, if you don't know who Mike Bailey is, you need to look up some of his stuff, man. He's one of the best independent wrestlers that we've had for the last few years. He's done work in Japan. He's done work in Canada. He's been on TNA most recently. He was the TNA X Division champ right before Moose. So this is a dude that's legit. Not your big monster. He's a Taekwondo guy. He does do a lot of Taekwondo moves. He's also a high flyer. He has maybe the best mullet in all of wrestling. His gear is smooth. He wears kick pads and no shoes. Like, he's a barefoot kick padder. Like, I just love Mike Bailey. His aura, his presence, everything about him works. I loved the entrance music. I thought it was great. By the way, Mike Bailey, he's big on the smile. He's a big smiley guy. It works, man. And he's going to end up becoming a ultra freaking pushed babyface in AEW. Matter of fact, he's entering this tournament. He takes on, who did he take? Oh, he took on Beast Mordos. I did that twice now. And Beast can work with anybody. It was a really, really good match. He dominated most of the match, meaning Speedball. Beast had some good moments, but I would like to see this, because this is his win in the tournament, advances him to the Fatal 4-Way, where the winner will take on Kenny Omega for the international belt. Now, I would have no problem with Mike Bailey advancing in this tournament. I really do. That's the one thing about the tournament. I almost wish it didn't end in the Fatal 4-Way. I almost wish it ended in a singles match, because I would love to have Mike Bailey versus Ricochet to see who goes on to take on Kenny Omega. That would have been freaking great. And maybe they still get to something like that down the road. But I would totally be fine with Mike Bailey entering. I read a couple places, like, he just got to there. He just started AEW. He's not ready for Kenny Omega yet. He's not ready for a belt yet. Bullshit. Why? Who wrote those rules? Who wrote the rules that says that he can't? I mean, if you know wrestling, you've been paying attention, you should know who Mike Bailey is, unless you just zero in on one certain company. And we'll leave that alone, because you know how I feel about it. I feel like you should venture out, get comparisons, get alternatives. So overall, though, the Speedball debut was perfect. I thought it was great. I thought the opponent was great. I thought the push was great. And I'm so happy. I'm just so happy because I get to see Speedball now, hopefully once a week, maybe twice a week. Maybe they'll put him on Collision too. He's literally one of my favorite guys to watch in ring. He's so damn fun. Maybe you can see I'm kind of happy about that. We had an awesome moment backstage with the patriarchy after this. All right. Christian, father. Actually, Nick Wayne called him out. And then Christian lit him up. Best Christian promo of the year. All right. And I know it was just him yelling at Nick Wayne, that nose to nose thing that he did. Like, man, oh man, when Christian goes, Christian can go. And I hope that we end up pulling a story out of this. I wouldn't mind to see Christian and Nick Wayne. That would be kind of fun. A little mentorship breakdown. I feel like we've seen that story 1,000 times, but it's never bad. So, like, I'm good with that. I hope that maybe they can keep running with it. I love the piece. We had MJF come out for a nice little promo. Promo was great. Promo was solid. And then he's interrupted. And he's interrupted by MVP. By the way, when you have MJF and MVP in for promos, you're going to get electricity. Two of the best mic guys that exist. MVP, one of the best of all time. But yeah, this was kind of good. Like I like this. I was curious of where they were going to go with MJF. I didn't really know. Now we're maybe seeing that there's a sub story along with him. I don't think him and Hangman are done. However, when you're bringing in the Hurt Syndicate, maybe with MJF, which by the way wouldn't work out over time, even if they partner up for a few weeks, MJF's going to turn on them in a heartbeat. Or maybe it's the other way around and we get that MJF babyface, which kind of seems is what he's after anyway. So I don't know. I think there's some possibilities with that story. I liked how they linked some history with it, where MJF was an 18-year-old kid and he asked to drive MVP around to his appointment so that way he could basically pick his brain about professional wrestling. Like, that's great work, man. That's good storytelling, and I'm super glad that they went with it. Really good. We had another open challenge for Max Caster. This time it was Takeshita. It was a blow off. Takeshita forearmed him one time, 1-2-3 pin, ding ding ding. I'm done with this, so we're not even gonna keep going with it. I liked Max Caster, and I feel like they're ruining him. So anyway, the annoying heel's not working for this one. It's just not. The people aren't into it either. There was no heat. There was nothing coming from the crowd. So what else, man? Dynamite was interesting. We'll say that. It was interesting. We had Jericho promo backstage holding Gravity's mask. By the way, that was evil Jericho. If we're getting more and more evil Jericho, please. Jericho is at his best when he is super bad. Heel Jericho. Please give me more of it. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of this ends up becoming a Jericho Big Bill thing moving down the road. So we shall see. We shall see. There is time, but give me more evil Jericho. My note here says, please. Let's see. We had Mercedes and Billy Stark backstage. We're setting up that Athena thing that I talked about. We had an awesome Will Ospreay promo, which was fantastic. Limping around, but basically challenged. He said he's going to enter the Owen Hart tournament. I like that. That gets him, if he wins that, he gets that shot for the title at All In. And that's what he said. He's like, I see Cope's got his spot coming up. I see Swerve's got his spot coming up. When am I going to call my shot, bruv? And he kind of did. And you know what? It was only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before he goes after the big belt, and I'm totally fine with it. Question is who's it going to be that he's going to go after? Is it going to be Swerve? It's going to be Cope? It's going to be Mox? Somebody different? MJF? Hangman? I don't know. We got a lot of time till the summer for All In, all right? So we had that Willow over Penelope Ford. Penelope, worst chair shot I've ever seen in my life, and we have seen some bad ones. I'm not even going to talk about it. And then what else did we have? Jay White, I talked about that. Orange Cassidy and Hechicero for the main event, another part of the international tournament. This match was fun. Orange Cassidy doesn't get enough credit with how good of a damn ring wrestler he is. I know he gets a lot about his comedy. He's a comedic wrestler. He's a show, and this is what he does. And he is. I mean, the stuff he's got, his gimmick is so freaking good, and it can get over at any point. But Hechicero is a catch wrestler. He's a submission freaking luchador, and Orange Cassidy went with him move for move. And I have seen Bryan Danielson do the exact same thing in a match. So you're talking talking about technical guys. Orange Cassidy can be technical. He goes over Hinchicero. He advances to the tournament. So right now we know in the four-way we're going to have Orange Cassidy and Speedball Mike Bailey. We'll find out on Collision. We'll find out who the other two are going to be. Okay. And by the way, I will preview Collision tomorrow on the Not So Saturday Short. All right, guys. TNA. I am running out of time here, so we need to move forward. I'll just go over a few things with you. More setups. It was a taped show. It was a decent show. By the way, Dynamite, I scored it a B minus. I scored it a B minus. Not great, not awful. It just had some down points, and it had some good points. It wasn't awful, but we'll deal with it. Okay, so let me actually even mark that right there. B minus. Okay, so TNA. I don't know. I'll give it a solid B, is what we scored it. Eddie Edwards over Leon Slater. We had Wes Lee over the Laredo Kid. Rosemary loses Desire Brookside. JDC over Cody Deaner. Cody Deaner's awesome. All right. If you don't follow him online, you should, man. He's a great guy, and he freaking loves wrestling. I love people. I love wrestlers that love wrestling. It's so much fun to me. But yeah, he lost to JDC. We had Cora Jade, and Tessa Blanchard. They tagged up against Masha and Xia Li, and they won. Cora over. We're going to get that matchup coming up tonight. I'm so excited for it. My favorite part of the night was the summit between Mustafa Ali and Mike Santana, the political summit. And man, Mustafa Ali is on fire, being a dickhead heel, talking about Mike Santana being an addict. He brings up his daughter. Santana goes after him. He gets beat down by the Great Hands, a.k.a. the Good Hands, my man John Schuyler. That whole piece was really good. And in your main event, we had Joe Hendry versus, you think, my brother, Ryan Nemeth. Lasted about 5 seconds as he hit him with the standing ovation quick. And then Santino says that wasn't really your match. You're taking on Hammerstone. By the way, I think this was Hammerstone's last match in TNA. That's kind of what I'm reading out of this. But pretty good match. Afterwards, Joe Hendry goes over. By the way, he really took a beating in this match too. But afterwards, all hell breaks loose and Hardy's come down. The system is down, and we kind of get that big square off for tonight's sacrifice. So speaking of which, let's go over this card. I'm going to do my predictions. It's a pay-per-view, so I'll do my predictions. All right, let's start at the main event. Will be a huge 10-man tag match in a cage. We got Joe Hendry, Matt Hardy, Elijah, Leon Slater, and Nick Nemeth, a.k.a. Dolph Ziggler, taking on the System minus Moose. So Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers, JDC, and both of the Colon brothers. All right, Orlando and Eddie Colon. So that's in a cage. I'm taking Joe Hendry and the boys. We got Masha Slamovich defending the Knockouts title tonight versus Cora Jade from NXT. I'm going Masha to retain. Moose is going to take on Jeff Hardy for the X Division title. Jeff Hardy's winning this, all right? Jeff Hardy comes out X Division champion tonight. I'm making the call. You heard it here first, okay? What else do we have? Mustafa Ali versus Santana. This match is going to be the banger. This is going to be the match of the night, I promise you. I'm going Mustafa Ali over Santana, but the feud will not be done, all right? Tessa Blanchard versus Li Ying Lee. I'm going Tessa there. The Rascals and Ace Austin taking on Wes Lee, Tyson DuPont, and Tyreek Ngwe. I'm going to go Rascals and Ace here, but I'm not going to be surprised also if there's a split. I don't know. Just kind of get a sneaking suspicion that something can happen, but I'm going to stick with my original, and I'm going to say the Rascals and Ace go over. We got Sami Callihan in a huge hardcore match versus my man Mance Warner, the Mancer. I'm going Mancer all day, baby. Sammy, I hope you're alive after this is over with. Spitfire again with Ash by Elegance. Ash is going to have their concierge with them tonight in the match. I go Ash by Elegance and Heather by Elegance winning these belts tonight. All right, so 2 switches. We got Frankie Kazarian versus Steve Macklin. I'm going Kaz. By the way, he's doing great work. I know I've said that a couple other times. And then in our pre-show, we got First Class, AJ Francis, and his man, Casey Navarro, taking on the Laredo Kid and Octagon Jr. coming up from Mexico. If you don't know him, he's a high freaking flyer, guys. So yeah, that's our TNA sack. This could be such a damn good show. All right, super excited for this. And I'll probably start watching it at like 11 o'clock tonight. So it's going to be a long night here for the old slow burners. Also tonight, speaking of long night, we have Smackdown. So far, only 3 matches as of my recording time. 3 matches have been. By the way, it's in Barcelona, Spain. it was pre-recorded. We know that, but it's a freaking European crowd, and it's going to be so much fun. I'll probably watch that before TNA. But what we have so far, we got Charlotte taking on BFAB. All right, can't wait to see Charlotte back in the ring in a one-on-one match. Randy Orton's going to take on Carmelo Hayes. Oh, Mello don't miss. Good to see Randy back in a one-on-one match. And then we have the tag team titles on the line for DIY taking on the Street Profits. All right, and you guys know regular show, I don't do predictions on regular shows, so that's what we got. Super huge weekend. All right, Collision tomorrow. I'm going to review TNA Sacrifice. I will review Smackdown, and then we'll talk about what we got the rest of the weekend, guys. And I'll stay with you right here on the Slow Burn, where all professional wrestling storylines live. Guys, in this world, we're wrestling everything. So stay on top. Thanks for joining us on the Slow Burn.